How much 1000 SUI will cost by the end of 2024 and why you should accumulate it in your portfolio.
Muchas gracias, afición. Este para vosotros.
Welcome back, my name is Stan, I'm the CEO and co-founder of a custom software development company. We build products for the city of New York, SAP and General Electric. I've done more than $15 million in custom software sales, and on this channel I'm showing my journey in turning $500,000 into 10 million in crypto. SUI, I have extensive analysis on the token. I have extensive positions in the token. I have a lot of information to share. Private information from previous cycles as well, and from the bear market. That's a very important video. Make sure to watch it till the end and like and subscribe. Let's go. So the first thing I wanted to start with is that we see the change in the sentiment in terms of this token already, with large influencers essentially picking up this thing, but they don't talk a lot about it now. So they just kind of mention it a little bit. There was a video of Elliot Trades basically just today, my time in Dubai, and he mentioned that SUI is something that everyone is talking about now. Let's just check out this small piece, right?
The new high-performance blockchain that everyone is talking about. As you can see here, it's made a nice cut from its original dump back in
Cup. It's very important that he's saying Cup as well. So he starts to talk about it, right? We can check out Crypto Bouncer as well. So this part of his video, I'm not sure if you're on mobile and you can see it, but this part is titled SUI and Celestia, right? And it's not the first time he's talking about SUI, because he was basically mentioning it in the previous video as well. So we have this layer 1 that basically was launched in the bear market in May, going down the whole time, and right now it's pumping like crazy. I will give you a strong thesis of why it would continue pumping, what you should do now, should you enter or should you exit, how you should, and how I am playing it, because I actually used futures for the first time in my life on this token, which is quite crazy by itself, right? Leverage trading. First time in my life. Crazy. And what will basically happen next in terms of this token and the things that are connected. So we have this guy who is QW, very intelligent guy. I have checked out his interview, the posts that he's saying. He's talking with a bunch of developers on a daily basis. Thesis that he's sharing is just crazy. I haven't tweeted publicly about SUI, but internally we think SUI is a strong contender for disrupting the Ethereum-Solana duopoly, both of which we remain widely bullish on. Possibly the highest theoretical throughput. Move is a very safe smart contract language. Founders of SUI are very charismatic. TVL and dev community growing steadily. So the main thing that you can actually find for the blockchain, the main catalyst that you would understand that the token will be moving forward, is the development activity on the chain. Development activities usually goes first and everything else follows. And even speaking of Solana, it has its own development language which is called Rust. And any engineers, they actually would need to figure it out, because if someone is coming to Ethereum, they have Solidity, which is kind of similar to JavaScript. It's quite easy to pick up and things like that. Rust is a different thing and they have to pick it up. Move is something very simple, easy and straightforward to get into, and it's also a safe smart contract language, which is crazy important for DeFi, for TVL, growing and things like that. We also have the example of Cardano with the Haskell. Each developer, like every developer on the market, they just hates every developer on the market. They hate Haskell. It's hard to figure out, it's hard to get in, and it's very hard to find a good Haskell engineer, because I'm in the business, I understand what I'm essentially saying from this point of view. So the accessibility of the development language is one of the most important catalysts for any type of essentially blockchain and development. Interesting thing that he's saying that major area for improvement is the crypto nativeness, meme game and things like that, because you can't neglect the things that happened with Bonk, right? It created a surge in terms of Solana meme tokens and in terms of Solana usage. And all of these chains, I think over time they would essentially understand it and they will pick it up as well, because it's the best type of marketing that you can actually have. Just invest in the meme token and just follow the meme token and push the meme token up. Just because of the fact it will bring the largest amount of users on your chain, and it's a very effective marketing. That's like the cheapest marketing you can get, and it's also a most effective one. And Solana, they basically understood it first. Then we had the search in terms of the meme coins on other chains. And I do believe that marketing team of these blockchains, they understand it now. And if they don't understand it, they will be killed on the market. They will be removed from the market as a weak player, essentially. Still yet to be seen with Solana and Ethereum continuing to improve whether or not SUI is differential enough, but I'm following closely. Crazy narrative in terms of how these people already talk about this token. And at the same time, they it's not at the highs. So they don't talk like, you kind of see they're not confident 100% in what CryptoBunter is saying, in what Elliott Trades is saying. They kind of just forced to basically talk about because it's pumping currently and all they focus on is engagement, new users and things like that. I will give you a specific piece of analytics that I only have through the private discussions and communities I have here in Dubai and Indonesia as well. Stay tuned and make sure to follow this video till the end. It's very important information. So in terms of the SUI, this is a very, very nice website called Dropstep, and it's not actually being used in the West a lot. It's just crazy in terms of the things that you might actually be seeing here. So website basically shows the investments, the essentially vesting schedule. So all the important things that you would actually need to know before investing into something. So the thesis that I have is basically SUI is following Aptos. And these are very, very similar to tokens because they have same type of funds in terms of the investments, in terms of the funds that actually put money into them. Andreessen Horowitz, Jump Crypto, they basically just follow each other in Binance Lab. So it's the same type of funds. And therefore, I think there would be the same type of picture that we would see in terms of the playing out with these two tokens. And we already see a lot of similarities essentially happening in terms of both SUI and Aptos as well. So interesting thing that we basically have in terms of SUI as well is the vesting schedule. And we have major unlocks of the token in May, which is just crazy by itself. So there would be a bunch of supply unlocked in terms of SUI in May. And right now we actually have quite low circulating supply in the market at this stage. I think it's around 6 to 10% of all of the tokens that are in the market currently. And therefore it actually means that it's very, very easy to pump. I can definitely tell you, like right away, that through all this time, the market maker on this thing was buying out all these tokens that the guys were basically selling from the event of TGE back in May of 2023. Why do I think that this token has the market maker? Just because of the fact that I know it through the community and through the discussions that I had. I specifically know market makers that know the market maker on SUI, and they specifically know what type of contract is actually signed with SUI team and with the company of SUI, with the market maker. The type of contract that they have is that market maker was given several tens of millions of dollars in SUI token in May, and in a year from now, so in a year from that May, in May of this year, he has to return the same amount of token. All the profits that he would be able to make in between, he would be able to take to himself. It's very important, focus. Therefore, based on this information, market maker has to push the price of the token before the May of this year, before the unlocks, and he will still need to have time to take profits on this token as well, to redistribute the tokens that he has at this stage, because he basically has most of the tokens currently in terms of the things that are happening on the market. Therefore, the thesis that I have is that currently the market maker is basically going to push the price in the upcoming 2 to 3 months, and then have 2 to 3 months till May in terms of redistributing his tokens and basically selling them on the market as well, before we'd essentially have major unlocks that probably would decrease the pricing of the token moving forward as well. But at the same time, we can have something like Solana happening, but I don't care much about these events because they're going to be in May. I care about why this token is pumping currently and how I can make money on it. If you would follow Aptos, the reason I'm showing Aptos because it's a very, very similar type of strategy. So it also launched, market maker was buying out all these tokens here, and then he basically just started surging the price, and we had major unlocks here as well. And since this time, they're just redistributing and essentially just selling, and we kind of see change of trend here. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but it's very, very interesting. And if you would check out this pricing, so it went from $3 to $18 to actually $21 at the peak. So it did it 7x. It did it in the bear market with exactly the same funds invested in the whole thing, with a very, very similar vesting schedule as well. The only advantage that SUI actually has over Aptos is that it's launched initially in the bear market, but right now we are in the bull market. And Aptos was doing these things in the bear market, 7x on the major token in the bear market. Crazy manipulation, crazy stuff. And I think these things, they're actually happening here as well. So I do assume that $2 for SUI is guaranteed in the upcoming 2 months. That's something that we would basically see for sure, just following the fact that the market maker has to push his tokens. And his average buying price is probably at around 0.7. So at $2 $2, he would be essentially at 3x. So he would be able to do some redistributions there. But I do actually think that we might be moving forward and even higher than 2x. It's just a very, very stable and conservative kind of goal that you have. So 2x, so $2 at this stage, it would be somewhere around 50-60% in terms of the current price of the token. But it's still very, very nice because from the information that I shared, it's just a very, very stable and great type of thing that you can actually make money on at this stage. And you just see all these influencers starting to talk about this thing, but they don't scream about this thing yet. They just need to talk about it because it's pumping. So, and they just have to tell you, oh, I was telling you before and things like that. It's just crazy from this point of view. So SUI is actually the first token with which I actually went into leverage, into futures, because I didn't know all this information in the first place. I figured it out through the discussions and talks I had here. And at the same time, I was not able to catch a nice entry at 0.7, 0.4 and things like that. So I actually entered a long position at the level of 1.22. And I specifically entered at this level just because I do understand how the market maker is essentially playing out his game. The whole focus of the market maker is get people out of the token and push it up with the least amount of people, with the least amount of retail possible in this token. So no one is talking about the token here, right? We had this search here. We started influencers talking about this thing. We saw them talking about this thing, and they actually might be working in connection with the market maker as well. And then we saw this dump. And I do think that we got this dump because longs were liquidated. Retail's longs, they were liquidated here to level 1.22 and slightly lower as well. And currently we are surging back up. So I think we might still see a bit of consolidation, correction, things like that. But I do also have the anticipation that this thing should surge like crazy $2 very, very soon, just because of the fact to make it a rocket where no one would actually be able to get in. So I actually entered a $10,000 long position at the level of 1.22. And at this stage, I essentially have plus $4,600, $700 in terms of my long. So I would actually be waiting in terms of these getting to $2 and taking 40,000 profits out of this thing. So I have liquidation at 1.01, which I don't think that we should actually see. And if we would see, because I do plan, if we would essentially go lower to basically increase the position of my loan as well, because we might have a liquidation of leverage, because basically market maker might see and understand that there is too much leverage in this thing already. Therefore, he would basically need to take this leverage off the market. And market makers, they have like this whole crazy software with AI, with analytics of the sentiment of Twitter. They have access to social media. They have all these millions. So their pure job is to take you out of this token, take you out of the leverage positions, liquidate you, and just surge the price up of the whole thing, which is just crazy by itself. So I do plan to increase margin on my loan if it would essentially go down to my liquidation price, just because of the thesis that I essentially have in terms of the things that are happening with the SUI, similarities with Aptos, same type of funds, influencers starting to pick this whole thing up, and private information that you can actually only have on this channel. You can only acquire it on this channel. Knowledge of the market maker, knowledge of what type of the contract market maker basically has, and the knowledge that the market maker actually signed the contract with them in May. Because market makers, they usually sign the contracts a couple of weeks before the token would essentially be launching on the exchange, and exchange launch actually happened in May. So this is something to follow as well. Like and subscribe to this channel. This is the information that you would only get on this channel. No one else is talking to you about this. Other people, they just pump the token and they essentially just tell you that, oh, it's pumping, it's very, very nice, but it's already too late in terms of the things that are happening in terms of the whole thing. So in terms of some of the beta plays that you can actually might to want to get to, you have Cetus, which is essentially the main DEX on SUI in terms of the platform, in terms of the things that are happening. It pumped quite recently as well with the main token on blockchain too. But at the same time, this is something that you might actually want to get to have higher leverage if you don't want to enter any long positions on the token as well. And interesting thing with Cetus is that it moves exactly like the main token of the chain. So it moves exactly like SUI. It's very, very interesting. And basically based on the market cap from the assumption function of the lower market cap, we might think that it would probably do larger percentages than SUI basically itself. One of the insights that I actually got yesterday as well from the market makers, from the marketing guys that basically got some tokens surging as well, and specifically BRC20.com, which they got from 10 cents to $8, which is 80x by itself, that they're working on SUISwap. So this is something you can do with this information. This token, they basically surged 6x already. So I don't think that we might have a lot of fire left in here to move up, but this is still some, because if the guys, they had done 80x on the token already, and with the main thesis that SUI should be pumping and moving forward as well, this is something that we might see. So after all these theses and after everything that I've shared of the video, the main question is how much I think SUI would be worth by the end of 2024. So a very, very stupid comparison and a basic one is to compare it with the market cap of Aptos at this stage, because it's a very similar type of token from the fund's point of view, from the market maker's point of view, and from the chart point of view as well, because it's just crazy how similar they essentially move on the chart and even the correction. So following Aptos, like I would assume that we are somewhere around here or here at this stage. So we should definitely see at least one leg up in terms of the SUI surgeon, and maybe two. And it's a very nice thing that in terms of the percentages, Aptos corrected like around 20% here. And the same thing we actually saw in SUI, like from 1.48 to 122. It's also around 20%. It's just crazy how these things actually rhyme in terms of the things that are happening with two of these tokens. So we would compare the market cap of SUI and market cap of Aptos. We would see a 2x at this stage. I again say that $2 is pretty conservative for this token. 281 is something that it might be reaching as well, but it's short term. I would say it's short term to mid term. I do think that we would see $2 on SUI in upcoming 2 months. And end of 2024 might just be crazy, especially following this thesis from this very, very knowledgeable guy with a bunch of money as well, that it can actually enter Ethereum-Solana duopoly, and it has a lot essentially internally to be able to do something like that. So if we would compare the market cap of SUI to the market cap of Solana, we would see that we have 30x from here, right? Which is crazy by itself. It's $40 for one token of SUI. And if we would compare to the market cap of Ethereum, it's 200x from here. I'm comparing it with this type of prices because obviously this type of prices, they can only be reached in the bull market. Therefore, we would essentially have way more liquidity in the whole market. And Ethereum, it won't be costing $2,500. It would essentially be larger, and a lot of people, they project like $10,000, $12,000 and things like that. So it's important to understand that we're comparing with the current market cap, but essentially when SUI will be at these levels, Ethereum will be essentially way higher as well. So what is the conservative price target in terms of the SUI, in terms of the things that I've mentioned? In May, they will probably take some profits and they will probably change the market maker, and they will actually make a decision based on the market conditions, based on the amount of funds that they were actually able to make and things like that, whether or not they would actually want to push this token higher and not just dump the tokens that they would get unlocked, but be buying out the tokens from retail in order to surge the pump higher, in order to get more retail in the bull market as well, and essentially then redistribute and take profits from all of this retail money that would essentially be coming into the market. So I would say this is the very, very huge thing. If they would anticipate that we would be seeing a bull market in the end of 2024, I do think that this token and this chain might just follow the journey, the path that Solana had. With Solana essentially, with funds also buying out Solana, surging the price up and essentially making money of it and on it as well, which is very, very crazy by itself as well. So in terms of what SUI might be reaching, right now we have 1.5 billion market cap. We had comparison with Aptos and Solana. I think in the bull market, like 40 to 50 billion market cap is quite conservative. And at the same time, we should know and understand that in the bull market, we would have way larger circulation supply essentially in terms of the token as well. So they will dilute the price of the token, and essentially they will have the large amount of tokens as well. I do think it might be 10 to 15x from here, just following all the narrative, the things that are happening, and like these prices, these type of market caps, they would just sound like crazy in the bull market. In the bull market, you would be checking out this old video and you would be checking out these prices and you were thinking why I didn't buy more, why I was trying to take any profits, I should have just held, I would be making way more money in terms of these things. But it's a great trade because it's something you can actually do mid-term or short-term, take some profits off. And I think that this thing would do very, very well in the full bull. And the things that these guys are saying, and the thing that these guys are saying, the things that are happening in terms of the engineering of the whole thing, in terms of the developers and things like that, is just very, very crazy. So bullish on SUI, on the ecosystem. Feel free to check out SUISwap. And yeah, I do think that we might see the price of the token at around $15-20 by the end of 2024, if not even larger. This is essentially the thesis that I have to share. Like and subscribe if you like the content, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.